Here are my variegated Monsteras. I have my Thai Constellation leaf back there, smushed, and then 2 leaves out front. I recently had to move it because it's just getting so big, and having my Friedic and my Thai Constellation in here is really claustrophobic. There's just too much going on. And up here I have my Albo Monstera, which has recently put out a new leaf. And it is growing so much faster than my Thai Constellation at this point. I think I'm gonna need to start staking it or something. And on both of these plants, there are roots growing out from the top of the pot. So I think I need to size up on my pots. On my Thai Constellation, you can see it's very bad. Look how long these roots are. It's coming over here into a different plant. Both of them are kind of going out into different plants. So definitely, I think I'm gonna need to size up on pots, which I really don't want to do because as you can see, there's so little space in here that I might have to kick out some plants. And I also don't want to stake them because it's gonna be so much harder to keep them in here as well. But you can see it's probably gonna be necessary. Okay, so I brought out both my plants. You can see how much taller this one is than this little bebe here. And by the way, check out the new leaf. It's beautiful, but it's facing the exact wrong way, the opposite, complete opposite way of the old leaf. Luckily it is bigger than the first new leaf though, so it's getting bigger. We're gonna hold it like this, and you can see how this leaf is yellowing a little bit. This plant, my Thai Constellation, very long aerial roots. They weren't even aerial roots, they were underground and then they just popped out. So we're gonna tackle these. I'm gonna have the timestamps for the different plants below in case you're only interested in one of them. So I think first we're gonna start with the Thai Constellation because it looks like it needs a lot more help. All right, so here we have the Thai Constellation, and it's very tall. It's like stretched out, but it only has 3 leaves now. I want to bury it deeper in soil, and I want to get these aerial roots in soil. I don't know if that's going to be easy to do, but first things first, we gotta unpot it. Oh, there's roots coming out the bottom too. Like I mentioned earlier, I really did not want to uppot this plant because I don't have a lot of space in my cabinet. I really started seeing a lot of growth. I think there's a new leaf starting to form to come out. It really loves living in that cabinet, so I would much prefer to keep it in the cabinet than have to find a spot for it outside again. I'm just gonna take this outside and get all the old soil off, but if you remember from when I first got this plant, it had rotted roots. They have come such a long way. I am so stunned by how root bound this plant is, and I was thinking like it's growing so slow. It has the least amount of leaves that it's had since I've gotten it, and I was wondering why these roots were coming out of the soil. It's because they don't have any room to grow in the soil. It is so compact. It is very difficult to even spray soil out from inside of that cluster of roots. I am really shocked and amazed and pretty happy. The only problem now is that I'm gonna have to put it in a bigger pot. I think this pot would be a good size, but I don't like how it looks in this pot. So I'm thinking of going with this one. These pots are kind of they're not the same size, but this one is taller and like more tapered, and this one is just kind of squat, and it fills out the whole entire way, which I really like. I don't know why, I'm just not feeling how this looks in here, but I think I'm gonna have to go with it because overall it's just gonna be better. It's gonna be easier to fit inside of my cabinet, and I really want to keep it in there for as long as possible because the growth is insane, as you can tell from those roots. So I think I'm gonna have to put it in this pot, even though I really want to put it in this one. I love the look of this one much better. Aged terracotta is just the best you can get. Hopefully this one will age pretty quickly. I'm gonna have the playlists for both of these plants linked down below so you can reference those if you want to kind of watch their journey, or if you've seen it, like kind of remind yourself of what these plants have gone through. This one has gone through so much. I'm gonna go with a completely different soil mix this time. Not completely different, but yeah, it's pretty different from this one. And this is what I'm going to be adding my ingredients to. And this is mainly coco coir, a little bit of perlite, a little bit of orchid bark with some worm castings. I have this, which is coconut husk and cocoa chips, and I'm going to be using this with this. So it's going to be very, very airy, super airy mixture. And now I'm going to be adding pumice and charcoal. With all of these cocoa chips, I don't really think that orchid bark is necessary, but I'm just going to add some for fun. And last but not least, a little bit of vermiculite. So this is how the mix looks. Super, super incredibly chunky and light and airy. And I think the plant's going to love it. Okay, it's repotted now, and there was not a lot of space to put this root ball in and to cram kind of like the other aerial roots in. I was originally planning on putting a moss pole in it for it to climb up, but I think that the next time I repot it, when I put it into that bigger pot, is going to be when I put in the moss pole, because there's not a lot of space in this pot. I feel like it's going to grow into it very quickly. I hope it puts out a couple other leaves by then, because right now there's not really anything to stake it on, but I think the next leaf would be the one to actually secure to the pole, the next leaf's node, if that makes sense. Since there was not a lot of space in the pot around the root ball, instead of just like being able to put all of the soil mix in, I had to put the coconut husk, those chunks, in first around the edges, and then putting the soil on top and shaking it so that it would sink down into the pot. I think it looks a lot chunkier on the top part than it actually is, because the coconut coir, the pumice, all of that stuff just kind of sank down. But that's it for the Thai Constellation, and we can move on to the Albo now. My little Albo feels so tiny compared to the Thai Constellation, even though this one leaf is so much bigger than the leaves on my Thai Constellation. And I have the little baby leaves back here. The nodes are really growing out on the newer leaves, so I think this is one that I should definitely stake now. And I feel like I keep saying it over and over again, but I just really want them to still fit in my cabinet. And staking it is going to make it that much harder to fit, but I know I got to do it. Now is the time. This is what I want my Thai Constellation to look like before I stake it up. I haven't looked at the roots since I potted it up, and I want to see how they look after they got moved into soil. I'm going to put it in this chunky mix. First I got to take off. It is on a little stand, so this huge leaf can stay up. Kind of stays up without it, but when I first got it, it did not stay up. Wow, it's like when a baby can hold its head up finally. Here is the root ball. I think this root is actually rotted, so I'll cut that off. Oh my gosh, I feel like these roots are so much more fragile, and I'm so much more scared. I'm gonna take this outside and hose it down, so I'll be right back. Okay, so unfortunately there was more rot. There's like a lot of like rotted tips, so I had to cut those off, and I didn't get to film it because it's kind of difficult to film things and get them done properly. So I just cut off the tips of any dead ends, and I also sprayed hydrogen peroxide on the roots. I think recently I've been overwatering it. I think some of it was just the roots, the water roots, And then some of it was like the tips is from me overwatering it because I've been watering it at the same time as my Thai Constellation. And you can see my Thai Constellation needs water a lot more often than my Albo. But it's all good because I found it before it got worse. I have determined that the grow, like how this is gonna grow, is gonna be this way. So I'm gonna have to put it into a pot like this. And this is hopefully gonna be the front. And you can see that the newest leaf is the one that is facing the right way. And the first leaf that came out is facing the complete wrong way. And then hopefully they'll all turn to face the correct direction. And I think I'm gonna put it in the same size pot it was before, like the same pot. I'm gonna put the stake though, so hopefully it will fit. Yeah, it fits, okay? So it'll fit, and then it can still stay inside of the IKEA cabinet. Here is how the Albo is looking, which you can see. It's really good that I staked it now so it can grow properly because right now it just looks all over the place. I'm not sure how this big leaf will move because it is kind of yellowing. I did notice there was some yellowing at the base of the leaf, which it's really slowly yellowing, but it is yellowing, so it's gonna fall off soon. Either way, if it falls off or not, this is set up to grow properly. Now all that's left to do is water them and then try and fit them back into my shelf, which is probably going to be the most difficult part, but wish me luck. So I'm going to start with the bottom layer here and try to figure something out. I can't move my Friday and I can't move my skeleton key, so I'm just going to move whatever I can. And I literally cleaned this out like 2 days ago and it's already looking messy, so that's always fun. Just so you can see, this is how big the plant is. Oh, it is not going to fit. Oh, maybe I can move the humidifier here. If I try to close this door, this is gonna get smushed. This is how I had it before, but the leaf is up here, like against the window. That looks pretty good, except for this one leaf. We're gonna have to somehow push back. Now we're up here on the second level, and this is the only place where the Albo is gonna fit because of the core pole. This is the same core pole as on the Albo, so it should work out. But I think I'm gonna put it back where it was and hopefully it will fit. It does fit here. This I can tie up a little bit just to like help it start growing like upward. I don't know if it will reorientate itself, but you could probably see here like there's yellow, so honestly I'm kind of tired of this leaf even though it's so beautiful. I just have these two now which look amazing. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. I just had a little 2-in-1 update. My variegated Monsteras. I'm gonna hope that the Albo one recovers and that the big leaf gets bigger, and I'm gonna hope that the Thai Constellation will end up fitting because I might have to just move it out of the cabinet and find a new spot for it, which I really don't want to do, but let me know if you guys have any suggestions. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!